know the lighting is horrible. This is my phone. It's not even a camera. It's just a phone. And I don't have money for a camera, so this is gonna have to do for now. But like I'm kind of just here because I didn't really know like where else to go, what else to do. It was just kind of like talk to my phone. Um, and I was just gonna spitball for a bit, but I didn't really want to do that, and I ended up writing like 6 pages in my journal. So I guess we'll just get into it. I don't know, like I've just been so bitter and like angry, just like at everything, like the world around me, the people in my life, like I'm just like angry all the time because I know like I'm not where I want to be, and I'm not living aligned like with my values, and that's something I strive to do like all the time, and I can't right now, so it sucks. And so like that anger is rooted in pain, obviously, like being hurt or disappointed or seeing other people in pain and like not knowing what to do, like feeling helpless. So I just kind of wanted to talk about like big picture shit because that's how my brain works. So I wrote this down. This is just like the best way I could put it. So like I said, we live in a world of borders, lights, and rules. And that like physical borders, like between countries, lights, just like technology and like street lights and things like that. And then rules are obviously just like societal like rules that you can't break. But like who says like what? Who says you can't? And I think I'm gonna get into that later of like why they're there and like what happens if you do try and break them. And this is like I don't know, like this is heavy on my chest. Like I I've been thinking about all this stuff a lot, and I think like being able to say it out loud would be really helpful because I know there are people out there who feel exactly what I'm feeling or think just like me. So Vince Staples, I forget what interview it was, but he said no one is special, and then the guy was like, well, what do you mean? He's like, well, no one being special allows everyone to be significant, and I that always is in the back of my mind, like everyone thinks they're special, and like in reality, like no one's special. Like you just happen to be good at carpentry, or you happen to be good at acting, or you happen to be really pretty. Like you're not. That doesn't make you special. That doesn't mean you're like God's gift to earth. I don't even believe in like God in the traditional sense. Like I'm just saying that like we're all just humans. We're all here, like trying. So there's no like special like what makes us human is what like we're special because we're human and like we came from fucking stars and like dust and things like that. Like that's what makes us really special. It's not like how much money you have or having this car. Like that doesn't mean anything, at least to me. Like I could care less. I couldn't care less. Because you trying to be special just leads to competition because you think one person thinks they're better than another, and then you're trying to outcompete each other, which just leads to the idea of ladders. So like you're better, you're here, you're there, like a hierarchy, and hamster wheels of like constant non-stop just trying to be better, but not in like a let me work on myself kind of way, but in like a like oh, let me get even more butt shots or like let me like work out even harder to like get muscles that I don't need to like be bigger than this person, like or a better pair of shoes or whatever. Like it's just constantly trying to be better, but it's not. It just is. It's worthless. Like the hamster wheel just kills you, and so it's just like never ending cycles filled with like pain and anxiety and loneliness and isolation, and you're just unfulfilled. Like no one finds fulfillment in doing this thing. Like you see a hamster, eventually they get off because they've just burnt out. Like they don't care about it anymore. They want to do something else. And just like a general disenchantment with life. Like it's not like life is special, but because of this wheel that we've created, we take this specialness out of it. And there's no more magic. Like we're disconnected from nature. We're disconnected from each other. Like nothing. There's no more like joy or like brightness. Like the only brightness of life is artificial. Like this light in the back of my room, bright as fuck, but it's not real. Like I could just crush that bulb in my hand. Like the fact that I bleed, that's cool to me. And so all these cycles, this idea of competition, whatever, just like it just goes back to capitalism for me. And just the idea that like everything's materialistic. We're all materialistic now. Everything is materialistic. Like advertisements are all deficit based. So how do you make this person feel like they don't have enough so that they'll then go out and buy more? And like constant consumption, like because you feel like you have less, you then buy more, just more and more and more and more and more. And we're all taught to do that. And then we compare ourselves to each other, and that's a rabbit hole. That's a slippery slope into depression and like people like ending it because they're like, oh, well, I'm not good enough, I'm pathetic, whatever. And just we're constantly building things. Like I live in Indiana. It's not the most beautiful state by a long shot. And there's just constant construction all the time. Like for what? Like they don't tell you what they're building. You just see it and it's ugly. And you're just ruining like the world around you, like the natural world, like the grass and the trees and the whatever. And it's just constant construction and then output. So making like why are there 15, 14 iPhones? Like who needed that? No one. Like we didn't need this. We didn't ask for this. You just made it because you like wanted to do better, like do more, be bigger, be better. Like it just feels like it's ruining everything. And it is. Like, I mean, you look at it, like it just sucks. Especially technology. We're kind of slaves to it. And like yes, it's helpful in some ways, but in a lot of ways it's not. And I've kind of seen those ways play out firsthand. And yes, I'm like talking to my phone right now, but like I had no other resort because people in my life around me wouldn't listen or they don't get it. So I'm sending this out to the universe, basically in a way, trying to see like what comes back. And so like we see and hear all these things through social media or through the news or through whatever, and we think it's real. And it may be, but like it's not happening in front of you, so who's to say? And like you care more about what this person that you're following is doing across the country than you care about your neighbor. And that's just like disgusting to me, because you just like all your humanity is lost, and it's everything's like your humanity and the desire to have interpersonal relationships is just gone now. Or like meeting up in person, like it's not easy to do that unless you just like randomly approach someone, which a lot of people aren't willing to do. More people want to live alone than ever. Like you don't want roommates, you don't want people in your life that are close to you. And I mean, but on the flip side, okay, let me rephrase that. We all want these things to have relationships, whether they're romantic or not, to live close to people we care about, whatever, but we don't do it, and then we also spend more time on technology than ever. So it's like we're doing the opposite of what we want. Like no one smiles anymore, says hi randomly. Like there's no spontaneity, there's no, again, like I said earlier, like there's no magic left in life. And so like you either kind of have to participate in this societal realm of socialization and capitalism, or you kind of doom yourself to like eternal isolation. At least that's my experience. Like I have never felt more alone, and misunderstood than I do right now. And I kind of feel like I'm living on the outside of like a bubble, or like the Matrix, or a dream, or whatever you want to call it. Like, it's like this is closed off and everyone like is here, and then I'm like way over here, just like doing my own thing, just like watching this happen. And because of that, because you're on the outside, you kind of just like, you either find a way to make it or you just kind of perish and die. And I'm kind of like realizing that now, just because I've kind of in my own life just rejected like everything society's told me I have to do. Not because it's not for me, but just because I wanted more. I wanted more meaning. And I don't mean more like more stuff, more meaning, like more connection to something bigger than myself and bigger than what people tell me I need to care about. Because right now, like, I live with my mom. My parents are divorced. Like, I DoorDash, and I barely make any money. And that's my reality. Like, if I wanted to change it, I could. If I wanted to go back into reality or society, I could. But, like, I've been there before. Like, I was a server. I've always worked in food service, and I hate it because you're at the mercy of the customer, and the customer's always right, which is complete bullshit. Like, if you're disrespecting me and you're the customer, you don't realize that you're at my mercy. Like, I could bring my food out slower. I could spit in it. I could give you, like, if you ask for 2 scrambled eggs, I could just give you uncracked eggs and say scramble them yourself, you know? But I'm not willing to do that because I need money. I need your money, so I'm going to let you walk all over me. So I've kind of just refused to, like, work a corporate 9 to 5 or do anything with technology or, like I said, service. Like, I'm not doing any of these things. And if you look at it, that's the mass majority of jobs, unless you're going to be, like, a healthcare worker, like a healthcare provider or an artist. And there's no, like, there's kind of no way around it, even. Like, I've even tried to, like, go get a job, and they won't hire you unless you apply online and go through this, like, rigorous vetting process, when back in the old days, or sometime, I can picture it in my head, because it's in my collective conscious that I'm tapping into, where you just walk in, say who you are, say what you want to do for them, and they shake your hand and you're hired. Like, you can't do that anymore. So it's just like a loss of just like any sense of like being human, and like seeing someone in front of you who's willing to put the work in, or who cares enough about this thing to sacrifice something for it. Like, none of that matters anymore, and it sucks. And so I'll just say, like, I'm in this position because I'm bipolar, or like I've experienced like mental health issues before. Obviously, that's not the full story, so I'm gonna get into that. But just like, that's just the easiest way to sum it up. Like, I went to USC, Southern California, in LA. Like, everyone there is super smart. Everyone there is super dedicated. Whatever. A lot of people there hate themselves. I wanted to kill myself literally every day. Never did, obviously, because I'm still here. But like, the fact that you can be in this environment and you're still struggling, like, says something about, it's not about how many resources you're given. It's not about the like, oh my God, I'm in LA. Like, it's not about that. Like, it's about what's inside here. And if that's out of whack, and if you can't connect, that's what is going to decide what happens in your life. That's what's going to dictate your future. And so I had a full existential crisis. I was just questioning, like, why am I here? What is my purpose? Questioning society. What are any of us doing? Why are we doing certain things? Why do things look this way? Why are there 100,000 homeless people, and there's people living in the hills that you don't ever see them, but they're there, and they have money, apparently? Like, why is this reality, you know? So I came home, Indiana. I went to therapy, spent a lot of time in nature, listened to a lot of music, ate food, did a little bit of weed, and I felt better. Like, I felt like my zest for life, my childhood, my childlike joy was finally back. And like my therapist was like, so like, do you have any thoughts of hurting yourself? And I was like, no, like that's the last thing on my mind. And so I started like writing a lot more, and I was posting on social media, and it just felt like everyone thought I was crazy because they're like, who is this man out here talking about love? Or like, why is he not following any of society's rules? Like I went for a 4-hour walk downtown, and it was a big deal. Like, why? You know? Because everyone was worrying about me when they have their own lives to worry about. Like, I'm just doing me. Like I said, I don't want to hurt anyone. I don't want to hurt myself. I'm just doing these things. And I had just like genuinely and generally stopped caring about other people's opinions unless it like really meant, like really held meaning, or like could benefit me. And I was just speaking my truth. And so then some things happened with my parents. Didn't feel like I could trust them, so I left home, put everything in my car, and packed it up, and I moved away for like a day. I was on the road, and I made a video faking I was smiling the entire video. Like, I had cut all my hair off. I was outside a gas station. I was just wearing like this robe and then like a tree necklace, and I was just like, like if you're watching this video, it's too late. But I was smiling. I explained a bunch of stuff. Because I kind of just like, in my mind, it was like, it'd be easier if people thought I was dead. Like, society, like the government knows I'm not dead because I'm obviously using my social security, but like my friends and family, like at this point, I just didn't care anymore. I was like, these people have disappointed me or hurt me enough to the point where I'm willing to leave it all behind and pursue something better for myself. And so that video kind of gave me power. But then, because people worry, because people care about you and love you and whatever, they like, we'll get to that later. Basically, I was speeding and I had weed in my car. I was not high, but I got pulled over. They arrested me for weed possession. I spent a day in jail, and then I got out. Was released to my parents' custody. They came and got me. Started to live with them for a little bit and just felt even more misunderstood. So I was again willing to leave my family behind and pursue a future that was on my terms. And then they called the cops on me, or they filed a missing persons report. Either way, police showed up to where I was, exactly where I was, and took me to this place called the stress center. Well, first they took me to the emergency room, or the emergency hallway. I got a picture of my heart done. I peed in a cup. They took my blood. I was perfectly fine, besides like an elevated heart rate. And they still wouldn't let me go. So then I had to go to a place called the stress center, which is another place. Mind you, both of these hospitals are religious, if that has to do with anything. So the stress center is basically where you go when you've experienced traumatic events or you're dealing with unruly mental health issues, and you just kind of figure your shit out. But I felt mistreated in there, and because they don't treat you like a human. They treat you like an animal, and they're like, take these pills without telling you what they are, and then you vomit, and then you're just expected to keep taking them, which I didn't. I just put it in my lip, and I just went about my day, and then spit it out. Anyway, and they told me I was bipolar, and I was like, cool, like I very well maybe, but I'm only 19. My brain's not done developing. I haven't hurt myself or anyone, so just kind of leave me the fuck alone. That's how I felt. Like, you have your own stuff to worry about. I have my stuff. So I got out, and I was just like angry at my parents. Just like, I could not stand them. I resented them, like every fiber of their being. I was just like if I didn't care about not hurting people, I told them this. I was like, I don't want to hurt you. I don't want to hurt myself, but because I'm a mammal and I have primal instincts, if I had to hurt someone because you're in my way, I would hurt you first. and that was scary to admit, but it was true. Like, I gotta do me. And so I saved up for a new car, or I had like money in an account, like very little money. I got a cheap car, and I went on a road trip around the around the country. I put 6,000 miles on my car in a week and a half. That's that's pretty hard to do. But like, I was hardly sleeping. I ate it. I didn't lose any weight. I was drinking water. I just wasn't sleeping as much, and that's why I was able to do it. And I saw some pretty amazing things. And I tested limits. Some of them I shouldn't have tested, which is another story for another time. But I went back to my parents, and I wanted it. I found a place, and I was like, you know what? I'm gonna stay here. I'm gonna plant my roots in this place. It's really cool. I love it. Whatever. I'm not gonna say where it was, but I tried to get a job. I tried to be an active member in society, and they're like, well, we need your social security. For what? Just hire me. Anyway, so then I drove back thousands of miles to my parents, and I still felt confined and angry, and things got worse between us. So then I went back to the stress center. This time I accepted my diagnosis. I was like, fine, I'm bipolar. Fuck it. I'll take your meds. Like, I'll be a good boy. That's what I keep saying. Society wants you to be a good boy. And I'll be a good boy. Why not? You know? So like, I'm gonna go to therapy. I'm gonna grow and heal, and like, I obviously care about mental health and psychology and therapy, but there's a point where meds can't do anything, and love won't help, and you just need to change your environment, and you need something different. And that's where I was. Like, I had kind of done all the emotional work I thought I needed to do. And so it just felt like everything I learned on my trip and through my pain and through my struggle, and like all these cosmic signs and like things that I had made to be significant in my mind, it just felt like it meant nothing, which was a really shitty feeling. And I still feel that way a bit. Like, these things that I know now, this way that I want to live, it has no like real world applications. So I just felt lost, like, mentally, but then externally, like, I felt lost internally, but then externally I had lost. Like, I lost friends. I lost some people's trust. So it was just like, or just some of my friends were in school, and they still are in school, even though I know a lot of them hate themselves. Like, we're all struggling. I just decided to say, fuck it, I'm not accepting this. I want better for myself. Like, no one in Indiana seems to be having a good time. Like, you can walk around the streets and you can tell. So, especially young people, like, like if you go to like the high school I went to, like, everyone is just like, and like there are moments of joy and like bliss and happiness, and obviously, but like, I think just as a society generally, we're not doing okay. Like, no one is. Like, we are all hurting. We're all, like, even the people who are even the people who claim to be doing okay, or claim to like their life. Like, I love working 80 hours a week so I can afford this expensive car. Like, no, you don't. Like, when your head hits the pillow and when you wake up, that's not the first thing on your mind. Like, you're like, fuck, I'm a bad husband, or why do my kids hate me, you know? So we're all just lying to each other. And I would like to tell the truth more, just about how I'm doing. So that's kind of what I'm trying to do here. And there's kind of no place to go if you're in my position. Like, if you feel isolated or lost or depressed or anxious, or like you don't want to be with your parents, or you don't want to be in your relationship, or you don't want to do this job, like, there's kind of no place to go. Especially like if you have no money, if you have like no school experience, or you don't want to go to school, like I'm just living here reading every day. Like, I just smoked a cigarette. Like, I hate cigarettes, but there's nothing else to do. So like, I'm not willing to be a societal pawn. Like, I don't know. There are good things about the society, and there are people who are doing really amazing things. But a lot of it, like, you don't really see it. It's more about helping other people. And that's what I want to do. And so, like, back to this idea of having no place to go. Like, the only kind of place you can go where all your dreams are real or you have friends is online. Like, you can play video games, you can have 2,000 followers, and in your mind it's like, oh yeah, people care about me, people love me because they like my pictures, or I can do these really cool things because I know how to manipulate zeros and ones with this joystick. But that's just kind of like, it's not real life. Like, it's just a quick short shot of dopamine. Like, it's not, you're not gonna really feel fulfilled. Yeah, so back to the idea of like finding meaning and finding purpose in my existence. Like, I can build and destroy all I want. Like, I can contribute or I can tear things down all I want to. I can learn all I want. Like, I can read these books and, like, read these articles, but like, there gets to a point when you can consume too much and you're like, okay, how do I make this mean something? How do I apply it to my life? And I think that's where I'm at. Like my life has to mean something. Like, I know it does, and like, I know it means something just because I'm alive, but it has to mean more than that. Like why are we alive? Why is this electricity flowing through our body at the right circumstances to give us life? Like, that has to mean something. And it has to mean more than what society is telling you it means. Like you're alive, be a worker. What? Like, no, I'm not doing that. Because, like, I don't think there's any coincidences. So, like, yes, we're just made of, like, atoms and molecules and space dust and shit, but, like, it accumulated into this moment. Like, well, why? And the only thing I can come up with is just, like, if you look up the meaning, if you look up the definition of, like, alive, or, like, the definition of life or something, it just means to be alive. So, like, we're literally here just to live. So, like, why not enjoy it? And, like, party. Like, have a good time. Obviously, like, be healthy, but, like, celebrate. Like, smile more. Like, run with the wolves. Like, run along the beach. Like, hug a tree. Laugh, sing. Like, that's what really means something to me. And so, kind of like the one thing that the one conclusion I've come to is, like, create something. Like, be an artist. Like, if you're struggling, you can find lyrics that, like, either help you or you can feel what you're feeling through these words. Or, like, you look at this picture and you're like, I wonder what that means. That's really beautiful. Or you see this cool architecture. Obviously, don't just, like, rape the planet and just build houses to build houses, but, like, there's, like, cool things that are built. And it shouldn't be about, like, fame. Like, it's not about having a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame or, like, a plaque with my name on it. Like, there were toilets at USC that had someone's name above them. Like, you care that much about a plaque that you paid for a fucking toilet. Like, that's pathetic. Like, it shouldn't be about that. It should just be about, like, getting people to feel something or to, like, find meaning because of what you do. Like, that's really cool to me. That's true power. That's true, like, meaning. Like, having relationships with people, having relationships with animals, like, I don't know. Like, it's not just about like, oh, look at this like cool watch I bought. Let me post a picture. Like, I literally want to vomit every time I see that. Um, so just like make something beautiful. Like even if it's not gonna last, like you made it. Um, so yeah, hopefully people will resonate. Hopefully this resonates with people, or is able to help people. I don't know. Like that's just my thoughts. So all I can do is send them out there and see what happens.